Fat. How important is fat for you in the diet? You're not consuming. Do you make an effort to eat a really higher fat version of the diet, or do you just kind of eat meat and just eat the fat that comes with it, or do you attempt to add fat into the diet?
I noticed that for me in the beginning, I would crave it very much. So I would have a lot of fat. I would have like chunks of butter this big on my meat. I would slap butter on everything. I would cook things in tallow. I would use lards. I would put spoonfuls in, sometimes in a little bit of meat broth, of butter or lard. So I was just craving it the whole time. So I ate a very high amount of fat. I think in the first 2 years, especially, also a lot of cream. And then slowly it tapered off. Like slowly I started to notice myself to not really need it anymore and not crave it so much anymore. So, right now I don't do an effort to have a lot of fat in my diet, but I do notice if I have a little bit extra, I do feel better. And I think it works very well for me to have some extra fat in my diet. But I really go off of like kind of what my body feels like. There will be periods of time I will have a lot extra, and periods of time I just don't really feel like I need it.
You had mentioned when you were on vegan, you'd lost your menstrual cycle for a period of time. And I don't know if maybe you had irregularities throughout the time you're on vegan. Has that changed, improved, from your perspective as a female on a carnivore diet?
Yeah. I'm on the dot. Like I know exactly, I don't even need to write it down. I know exactly when my period is coming. So I've never been irregular. It's always exactly on the dot, a very stable, healthy hormonal cycle.
Not all women, a lot of women have, premenstrual dysphoria and symptoms, and it's for a lot of them, it's a miserable period of time for a week or so. Has that changed for you? Or, I don't know if you ever had issues with that premenstrual syndrome or things like that. Has that gotten to where it's non-existent?
Yeah. That's, I like that question very much because I did experience, I don't think I would be very grumpy or angry, but I would feel just so much more low, more depressed before it. I wanted to spend time by myself, and luckily, I never really experienced painful cycles. But during my vegan days, I would have experienced a couple of those, feeling really bad pain in my stomach right before my period came. So I did notice, right before I would get my period, just feeling a lot lower, a lot worse. But now I basically don't have it. I sense in my body that I'm gonna get my period. I will feel it a little bit, and that's it. But I basically act exactly like I do on my good days. And also some people just notice that from me. Like they would tell me about how they are feeling when they get their periods. And I just cannot relate to that anymore because I just don't experience those really big dips right before I get my period.
Do you have any issues did you have any negative side effects when you went on a carnivore diet? Like some people will feel like they're dehydrated or have some a lot of people ask about gastrointestinal symptoms. I say, well, you got to be constipated all the time because you're not eating any fiber, essentially, because you said you're not eating vegetables or anything like that. So any issues with digestive troubles?
No, those only have gotten better. So I really don't. Yeah, I think probably there must be some sweet spot for some people that maybe fiber helps, but I noticed that I can go without completely. I have not experienced any digestive issues in the long run. I think in the beginning, because I transitioned and still had a lot of recovery to do, that's where the issues happened. But just being consistent over time, just stools pass really smoothly, easily. I don't have constipation issues. And somewhere I think maybe, being hydrated enough, but also consuming enough fat. I noticed that really helps for a good digestion for me, particularly. So I've not experienced issues with that. And I also think just consuming enough or like being hydrated enough also is not an issue for me. I think meat itself already, like I don't cook my meat fully, so it will be still kind of medium rare sometimes. I think that helps. and also consuming raw milk helps. So I'm not experiencing any issues with that.
Well, let me ask, because you said you're about 63 kilos, so that's 132, 138 pounds or something like that. How much food do you eat a day? Do you know volume-wise what you're eating, or do you keep track of that or have an estimate?
Well, yeah, I could kind of tell you what I eat, but I don't know how much it is. But as breakfast now, I will have 4 eggs and I think maybe more than 200 grams, 250 grams of bacon, for example. In a midday, it could be a steak with eggs, and that could be like 3 eggs, and maybe the steak could be like more than 200 grams. And then, basically in the evening, it's the same. So I think I will have 3 meals a day. I don't snack. And then sometimes I will have more eggs or more meat. Yeah, I don't track calories either. I really go off how I feel when I eat. But basically 3 meals a day, I could have about like 8 to 10 eggs sometimes a day.
If you could sort of rate your overall health and function on a vegan diet, 1 to 10, 10 being the best and 1 being the worst, and compare it to how you feel on a carnivore diet, how would you rate a vegan diet 1 to 10? How would you rate a carnivore diet 1 to 10 based on how you perceived your health to be?
Now, compared to it now, I would say definitely a 2. It was so just terrible, especially just the last couple of years. It was so bad compared to how I feel now. I'm just so stunned and amazed sometimes still today, and so grateful for the way I feel right now compared to how I felt back then. It was just very terrible how I would feel back then compared to now. Yeah, so I would say a 2.
Yeah, and then today you would say what? What about today? Where would you be?
Like 11. Like it would be just above. Like wow. Yeah.
All right. So as good as you could imagine. So it's interesting, because we keep hearing everybody saying, "Well, meat is bad for us." I mean, there's obviously a lot of people talking about that. So you would, I guess, disagree with that. Fair to say.
Oh, completely. Like meat is the best food you can have. It's like I sometimes, when I go a bit too long without having meat, I feel vegetarian again. Like I feel vegan again. It feels like there's something missing. So meat should be like, for me, it definitely should be a staple. I can have it at every meal. I'm not scared of any side effects. It's the healthiest food you can have.
Yeah, I don't disagree, and I'm getting hungry for my my refeed. It's been I haven't had food in about 3 hours right now, so I'm getting hungry right now. So it's good though. Well, I'll tell you what. Where are you located on? So you still have a YouTube channel, social media. Where can people find out more about you?
Yeah, I'm on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel, Kasumi Kriss. I haven't been so active the last couple of or the last 2 years because my father was very ill. But I'm actually starting to pick that back up now. So you can find me on YouTube, Kasumi Kriss. I am also on Instagram, Kasumi Kriss. So I'm picking back up. I'm picking back up social media, and I also want to start talking more about my experience with the diet, because so many people keep asking me about this particularly and how I'm doing, if I still feel healthy, and why don't I eat vegetables and stuff. So I would love to make some more content on that. And you can find that on Kasumi Kriss on YouTube and on Instagram.
Well, you certainly look happy and healthy, and I'm glad you found what's working for you. And it's so good that you had the mental strength to say, let me try something new. And some people, it takes them a long time, sometimes never. So good for you.